Hey everyone, welcome back to Heartland Mamas. I'm Marie Briel.
And I'm Heidi Henry, coming to you from our socially distant studios at the edge of the Great Red Divide. You can find all of our previous work at heartlandmamas.com, on every podcast platform, YouTube, and on the Demcast USA network. So, Murray, today we're going to talk about it's back to school, and we still are in a global pandemic. What are we going to do? So, let's go ahead and talk about
Oh,
that.
it's terrifying in a lot of ways because COVID upended everything we know
Yes.
about education.
Yep.
And it's really forcing us to think about what's fundamentally important with education. A lot of states are doing okay. There's about
Yep.
10 that are doing great, including Illinois. We're smart, we're on top of it.
Yes.
But there are 26 states that are having explosions in cases, and 10 of those are unbelievable.
Yes. We're
And
looking at
so
you,
these kids are
California,
going
Florida,
back
and
to
Texas,
school.
and Arizona.
The governor hasn't said where he's governor of Texas and Florida and Arizona are all planning on going back to school in a month and a half.
Just
So
like
if you have
Illinois.
these, right, well, everybody across the country is because
Yeah.
our fearless leader said that that's something we needed to do. Mhm. But in Illinois, we are really lucky to have a very strong, intelligent leadership that's driven by
Right.
data.
Right.
We're facing the same challenges as everywhere else, maybe a little less because our outbreak isn't as bad.
Well, our outbreak wasn't as bad, Murray, because our governor and IDPH, or Illinois Department of Public Health, got on the matter immediately, and knowing that we had no federal leadership, guided us into a path that would lower infection rate, lower the death rate, and allow us to have what we have now. I feel very privileged to live here right now. So,
When we're talking about it, I think a lot of parents are upset and concerned, as we all are. President Pritzker, that would be awesome, by the way. Hey, I would
I
love
don't
to
think
have
he'd want
President
that
Pritzker.
job. So,
He would be the best, man. I gotta say, I love the guy. He's done a really good job.
he's amazing. And so is his wife, MK. She would make a great first lady. Just awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
The Illinois School Board released their regulation yesterday,
Yeah.
and Governor Pritzker came out 2 days ago and said kids are going back to school. Illinois School Board has put together a guidelines, worked with health departments. They passed that out to districts, and
Yes.
districts have to figure out a way to make it work for them.
Hmm.
A lot of sense. Each district has its own unique challenges. When we were talking about this pre-show, Heidi, you were talking about, and I know my mom lives in Ottawa, out
Right.
in the country.
Right.
And she does have a broadband, but it's kind of like a step up from dial-up.
Right. Right. So, when this morning when we decided to do the show, because we had something else planned, but then these guidelines came down, and we thought we had to talk to parents right now. We had to talk to students right now. We had to talk to grandparents right now, whose lives have been completely upended by COVID-19, to school systems, and where are we? Because in March, all of a sudden, I was a homeschool mom very briefly because my kids hated homeschooling. I loved it. But just like me, your kids are sick of being, or my kids, your kids are sick of being home, right? But in March, all of a sudden, we all became homeschool parents. And not me, because my kids are growing in through college, so I'm done with that. But I know the preparation I did for 8 months before I decided to homeschool. I can't imagine having it just drop out of the sky right into your lap, right? So this morning I got on the phone with two people I know that are higher up. They're a principal and a superintendent, not in my immediate area, but out a little bit. And one of them I know is in a very rural system that has spotty broadband. The other one is in a more small town with good broadband. And talking to them, they don't feel we're going to have a full school year, and they gave me the idea of how they're going to be able to deal with this. Now, since Governor Pritzker came in Illinois, broadband has expanded in Illinois. It's still not like where your mom is at. It's one step up above dial-up. the lesson programs that they're putting together to do online are going to be a very low bandwidth program. Zoom takes a lot of bandwidth. So for those low bandwidth areas, I can't imagine this being a Zoom issue. And there are still going to be areas within the country, within our state in particular, where people are going to have to still drive in and pick up their work assignments because there just is no way to do it. But if we're able to go back, how the school day looks this fall is in 6 weeks is not going to be how it looked like before March of this year.
And that brings up several really good points.
Right.
It is not going to look anything like what
we're
we
used
have
to.
had in. And, we are in this weird space where, let's just run through some of the guidelines, because I know some of the folks out there are not clear on what they are.
Well, it's brand new as of yesterday. So people, parents, here's the thing. We're in uncharted territory. We're in 100-year plus uncharted territory as far as what to do. And we have to all figure it out. Now, I think looking at the science data and research that has come out, I think in about a year we're going to be pretty much through the worst of this, and we can start planning for the 2021 school year to begin. But I think this year is going to be fraught with a lot of challenges, and it's up to us as parents, as students, as educators to rise to that challenge. You're being challenged like you've never been challenged before. But here's our chance to think outside the box. One of the regulations, Marie, is if we go back to standard grading. I think that's a big win. I think that's a huge, huge win because I've never been in favor of No Child Left Behind. It's just teaching to the test. So now we get to teach small groups, one-on-one.
Oh, speaking of the regulations, one of the first one is that schools will be required to follow the state public health guidelines.
Right.
So we're in phase 4. We can have less than 50 people, which we've talked, presents numerous challenges. A bus seats 73.
Right.
There's no way to socially distance on a bus with 73. I'm a coach. I coach middle school soccer. I have no worries about being on the field with the boys.
Right.
But I have no desire to be trapped in a bus with absolutely no airflow, even with every window open.
With a bunch of smelly kids.
The smelly thing, I'm over it. I have boys myself.
Yeah.
But there's a big difference. And so buses are going to have to change. Schedules are going to have to change.
Right.
We want to keep the groups under 50. One of the things is they will require temperature checks. And when we talk about temperature checks, it's easy to give your kid an Advil or a Tylenol if they're not feeling good in the morning. But we talked even more, and they're doing the best they can. But what might make more sense is having temperature checks before you get to the building.
Right.
Have temperature check at the bus stop. Have the bus driver be responsible, redesign the laws, the regulations, check, because then you're not getting a sick kid on the bus.
I think
spread all of those germs.
Right.
And then you're not having lines waiting when they get there. I mean, there's one thing in doing temperature checks, but there's another thing in having, even if it's a much smaller percentage of kids on the bus, you still have so many buses coming because the kids are all going to get to school. You only have so many entrances to the building.
Right.
How do you keep them from gathering when they're there? And I think that might be an option, but I don't. Yeah. We haven't had the opportunity to think through it.
Not every child takes a bus to school, but I think for those that do, having a well-paid bus aide. I'm not talking about a minimum wage job. I'm talking about paying them money for the risk that they're taking. Having the aide, not the bus driver, check temperatures as the kids are entering the bus. They can be checked, and if they don't have a temperature, they can take their seat. It's a temporal scan. I know a lot of bus drivers.
How many as well?
Yeah.
Think about that. Your kid gets to school. You have a fever. You've already left for work. You have to get to work or turn around and go from work to pick the kid up. But if they already are checked right when they get on the bus, parents won't have that extra burden. So that
Right.
could be a really smart solution.
Well, and I think, ask any bus driver how many kids they've had to clean up puke after or snot or whatever because they got on the bus and they were sick. Nobody checked them before they got on the bus. The parent may not have been even aware because you know how chaotic things are in the morning. You're getting ready to go to work. They're getting ready to go to school. Your spouse, if you've got one, is doing something else. There's just everything's in the air. Breakfast and the last minute homework and pack your book bag and all of that stuff.
And put your pants on. You have to wear pants to
You
school.
cannot wear flip flops through the snow.
That's just my house that says you have to put pants on to leave the house.
I think so.
Right, then that's just me. That's just my little nudist. Okay, good to know.
Yeah, well,
Some of the other requirements that they're talking about, which make total sense, are mask wearing. And,
yes.
I mean, this. Okay, so before we go there, I want to talk about the Illinois State Board of Education's directive to focus education on 5-year-olds to 13.
Okay.
That makes a lot of sense
Right.
in a lot of ways. Foundation, making sure parents being able to work, kids, not needing daycare or parents having to stay home. But on the opposite end of that, it makes less sense to have the younger kids going to school. Right? If you've ever been in a classroom with a bunch of little kids, even
Right.
a small amount of little kids, everyone I know who teaches second grade and under will all tell you it's masks are going to be unbelievably challenging. Not only do you have to try to instruct, but you have to try to teach them socializing and how to behave, and you're teaching them life lessons. Now, on top of it, it's, you can't be one-on-one contact. They can't be close to each other,
Yeah.
which is already an issue. They have to have their mask on. No, you can't chew your mask. No, your mask is not a headband. No, your mask is not a bracelet. No, your mask is not a ponytail holder. Please put your mask on. No, if you chewed through your mask, that's your problem. I mean, to add that on top of the burden of trying to educate these
You
kids.
forgot your mask at home? That would be my kids.
Extra.
That would be my kids. They forgot everything at home. So
They don't have extras, but then you look at it and think, okay,
uh-huh.
the older kids, at least in our district, one of the ideas that they're working on is doing kindergarten through 8th grade
Hmm.
in-person instruction
Right.
and putting the high schoolers in remote learning. So all high school will be done online.
Okay.
That presents a multitude of problems.
Absolutely.
But what I'm thinking is, okay, so these kids that are older, clearly they're able to take care of themselves. Parents don't have to worry about child care. They're also at the very crucial age of needing guidance. This is where they grow from being jackasses to being human beings.
Right.
There's so much that goes into the junior high school years, particularly as far as human growth and development.
Right.
You wouldn't have to spend 30 minutes out of every hour telling your high schoolers to put their mask back on.
Right.
Where you will with little kids. They're better at washing. It would be easier in a lot of respects to get them to understand the boundaries and be able to function. They're at this really crucial stage. I know that it had to be a hard decision, but one of my friends who's an educator did a meme that said nothing makes you feel more like a glorified babysitter than having politicians say we have to go back to school so parents can go to work.
Wow.
She's very right.
Wow. Wow. Wow, that is pretty heavy, Marie. And I want to talk to you too. Last night I was up really late because I was reading my book and I decided to pop on my social media before I went to bed. And somebody I had known since they were a little child is now a mama. And she posted a thing for change.org about I refuse to let my child wear masks, sign the petition. And when I went to her because I have known her and her mother died from terrible complications from COPD. And her mother was a dear, sweet person and didn't deserve the the miserable disease that she was stuck with. And I said to her, how can you advocate for no masks when you know how your mother struggled? It broke my heart watching her mother struggle, because her and I had things we wanted to do together with horses that we couldn't do because her mom was so ill. There was things we wanted to do as parents with our kids that we couldn't do because her mom was so ill. And she said, I trust God. And I said, I trust God because God gave us a brain and blessed us with science and reason and skill to use it. And I know you're not a faith believer, Murray, but you know, we have to think that God gave us more than a head to be a hat rack, right? I mean, he gave us something, that's your saying, more than a hat rack. But yeah, but we have all these wonderful gifts that we deny, and some faiths, some denomination tells you to deny those gifts and to just be a sheeple, to just be a gelatinous pile of goo that looks just like, that's homogenized to look exactly like everybody else. We are not a pot to sit on the shelf and be decorative. We are there to advance the human race as our God-given gift, right? So to whip off the mask and say, my kid is not going to wear a mask. If your kid is not going to wear a mask, then you better wrap your head around homeschooling, honey, because you can't be with everybody else's kids. Your kids cannot and should not be around other kids. And if they wear that lanyard that says I'm too medically delicate to wear a mask, you better be bringing a doctor's note. And if you're that medically delicate, you ought to stay home. You shouldn't be around all the other germs that are coming to school. So I am just
exactly.
It's like
the perfect ration.
Well, and this person's mother died.
Go wear a mask.
Yeah,
you are too ill to be in a contagious environment.
Right. I don't understand that I trust God thing. You are not born to be stupid. You were born to be everything.
I don't get the whole God thing in general.
I know. I know you don't.
Sorta...
But I taught Sunday school forever. I taught several different curriculums because I would be given different curriculums from time to time to learn and to teach from. And in teaching those different curriculums, never did it say, turn off your brain and don't learn to do anything. Never. Not any of them. And I mean, I had everything from an Abeka curriculum to almost a Baha'i curriculum. Nothing. So I just can't imagine, I can't imagine people being that stupid.
Parents. A lot of the math comes down to the parents.
Oh, yeah.
Feeling like it's an infringement, like
then homeschool your
I'm sure
kid.
We'll have the anti-vaxxers.
Yeah.
There will be no
you don't want to participate.
No maskers.
You don't want to participate in society, then stay the fuck home and keep your kids with you.
Right.
I just lost our monetization again.
Yeah, you might have, but that's okay. Another problem we're facing as we get ready to go back to school. Facing school districts having no funds. Heidi, you mentioned that your district, the district that you talked to, there are 2 tablets.
Right.
Districts, there will be tablets for every student given there.
My understanding from my conversations this morning is the state has provided funds, general education funds, to provide every student with a device, a tablet, to be able to take home, to be able to do e-learning. This is going to be part of their packet that's issued at the beginning of the school year. Now, my kids went to a very well-funded school district, one of the best in the state, in a very rural part of the state. And tablets were issued, and some of the classes elected to have their books on that tablet, so you didn't get school books anymore. You got the tablet, and your reading resources were already in there. So we were used to doing some work on the tablet before, and I haven't had a child in school since 2013, so it's been 7 years. And I'm sure things have advanced since then, but and I'm sure those kids are probably getting Chromebooks now. But the state is allowing for it within the budget, the educational budget, the resources to provide devices. Because some of the things I've heard from parents is that we don't have enough devices for everybody in the hausehold. We can't divide and conquer. Not everybody can be online at 10 o'clock. It uses too much bandwidth. I can't, it's like herding cats. I cannot get everybody together to do this stuff. We can't, you know, the disciplines create the miracles. And having been a former homeschool mom, God, I know your struggle. I know your struggle. But you're going to have to figure out, we may start a school year
Not
here in
finish it.
Illinois. We may start one, but we may not finish one because as Illinois has behaved itself under our SIP order, shelter in place order, where we did the things we need to do so we could have the summer we're having now. The states around us did not. And the states where people vacation, Wisconsin, Michigan, Florida, Texas, California, also are struggling right now. Those people are dragging that virus back to Illinois with them. And people who come to Illinois to visit are bringing their germs with them. So where we are right now, we're lucky. But Marie, I don't expect this bubble to
That
last.
doesn't mean it isn't going to come back.
Oh, it's coming back.
It isn't going to explode as younger people get more diagnosed more, as the strains change, as the summer opens up. We're
Yeah.
going to see more cases.
Yeah.
You have to be prepared for school. But one of the things that's really frustrating, I think, for teachers is those teachers who teach specialty classes.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So I have my soccer partner is an art teacher, and
Uh-huh.
she teaches through fifth grade art at two different elementary schools
Yeah.
in her district. Her sole responsibility is art.
Mm-hmm.
She has a master's in it, a master's in art education, and now one of the ideas is that she will be responsible for a class of 10 kids, and it could be anywhere from kindergarten to fifth grade
Right.
general education.
Yeah.
So, and that's stressful enough. Teachers to make that shift, but what about those kids who maybe struggle in school? This is something that's really close to my heart. Those kids who maybe not, that usually fail spelling quizzes and can't do the times tables quickly, or they're not the best writers, and so that what they really live for is art. They love the chance to draw and learn. What they live for is choir or band.
Right.
Chance to be a part of a group, and they're good at that. And then there's something they're good at that
Yeah.
keeps them excited about learning. So I know we have to make choices and sacrifices, but in doing that, it sort of questions what our fundamental educational philosophy should be. We're still operating. Everything is on its head, right?
Right.
Nothing is the way it ever has been.
No.
Now is the perfect opportunity to not just get by and figure how to manage. To restructuring, let's restructure all the way. Let's make those changes, replace the emphasis. Like, we're not going to teach to the test anymore. That's been
Oh
tested.
God, I love that. I don't know how you can at this point. I mean, that would be an easy lesson plan. You just, blast out the plan. Just the No Child Left Behind stuff. Just push it out every day. You don't have to think about it. But you and I know a lot of teachers. Teachers are so much better than that. They're so much brighter and bigger and bolder and creative than that. And they know how to teach. And we've hampered them from teaching by making them teach to the test, in my opinion.
Right.
So,
We've hampered learning.
yes.
That's kind of where
Creative
we were going with
thinking.
this. We don't teach critical thinking.
No.
We don't teach life lessons incorporated because
Yeah.
of meeting the criteria that they have to meet. So this is a chance. School boards are just trying to figure out how to not have everyone get sick and die and still provide something. I don't blame them, but
Yeah.
now would be a great time to be able to do things like change the emphasis of what we need. It would have to be worked with colleges as well.
Right.
Like if we weren't in the middle of a pandemic, all of the racial tension and all of the hatred, I know we face it in our district, that we've had issues with it, and I know it's everywhere.
Yeah.
this would be like an amazing time to be approaching the school board saying, hey, let's add these three Black authors into our literature program and
Right.
these works because of this. Let's increase, I'd like to lobby to increase the percentage of people of color in educating positions.
Yes.
So there's this wonderful momentum that we can do, but we're just struggling to try to
A
stay
lot of that
afloat,
curriculum
as
change.
always. We never
Yeah.
think forward.
A lot of that curriculum change is going to come from your school board, as you know. And it's so difficult depending on district to district, board to board, even within the state of Illinois. We have some very enlightened school districts in Illinois that teach critical thinking and smaller class sizes and work excellent literature into their curriculum. And then we have others that just kind of blow it off and they don't do the hard stuff. They do the easy stuff. And I noticed even with the reading list that my children had in high school, so much simpler than what I had to read. I don't recall them. I remember my son the first time he got to take a class on Shakespeare in high school and how it just lit him up. I mean, he was just reading Shakespeare like crazy and reading it out
Christian
loud.
was a Shakespeare guy, huh?
Yeah. Oh, well, Chris. Chess.
I would not have pictured
Oh my God.
Shakespeare.
Shakespeare. He loves Shakespeare.
Yep, Chris
So,
Valley.
well, and
So cool.
and it's a little segue here, or not a segue, but a little rabbit hole here. Way back when he was young, I want to say maybe 10, 11, 12, Starved Rock State Park did a whole summer where they had a theater group that did Shakespeare in the park. And they used one of the shelters, and they did, it's the same actors and simple costume changes, but they did the verbiage, and it was so wonderful. And there were so many kids. I wish there'd been more kids because it just lit these kids up and opened a new channel for them. And that's it outside of they were all students. They were all, student teachers. So it was that outside of the box thinking and teaching and learning that advanced that thought process for my son. But what I was going to say is that to change the curriculum to include different authors is really difficult even at this point because those decisions were made a long time ago. It's not to say that it can't.
And they don't have the bandwidth to deal with that right now.
Yeah.
Because of all the other basic issues they're trying to deal with.
Oh my gosh.
That's not their fault.
Yep.
It's not educators' fault. It's not parents' fault.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's a way that we can find we're, like you said, we are starting, it's a brave new frontier.
It is.
Challenging what's important. Is it really important to know your multiplication tables?
Yes.
What is our emphasis going to be? Because we have to limit these sorts of things, and we limit the exposure kids have. And I think we're really just hitting this.
I mean, if you think about it, Murray, the big existential thing in learning recently was dropping cursive. That was such a huge hot button issue.
We still teach cursive.
Right.
Well, I will tell you, all three of my children failed cursive. And one of them, I said, he will not write cursive. Someday, he'll learn. We know how to sign our name. But because of his disconnect with his verbal processing is a nightmare that put the kid through an entire half semester of hell in tears. He would work hard. It doesn't connect that way, and he'd be so much slower. So, get rid of cursive. Sorry, can't get rid of cursive.
It's not that I'm in favor of pro or con for getting rid of cursive. I think there are more important things to learn. I do think it's almost an art form to learn penmanship, just my opinion. And I have terrible penmanship, but I sure enjoy somebody who writes beautifully. Not beautifully in prose, but where they form their letters so pretty.
I mean, honestly, who's the last letter you got handwritten?
Oh boy, I can't remember. I got a stamp thing from Joe Biden in the mail yesterday. It went into the recycling bin. Sorry, Joe.
Used to be you'd write notes, you'd take notes, and you'd hand them off and share them.
Yeah.
Everything is done digitally now.
Right.
As it evolves, as like you said, as curriculums evolve, we need to evolve.
I don't.
And
Are
I
kids still
hope,
doing those little things where do the?
oh yeah, oh
Okay,
yeah,
so you still are using some handwriting.
fortune
But
tellers.
yeah, I said it. I don't remember, but
They can print it, and there's only one word. You know,
I know. So,
I don't even know how to spell either, except the basics, because everything they do tells you what the words are.
oh my God, Marie, I have to just segue here for a minute. Yesterday, I read a post from one of my students who is in junior high, and it was spelled so poorly. It turned my stomach. I'm like, oh my God, we've got some work to do, but she's not my kid, And it just
Don't they
reading it.
understand one that's red means it's misspelled? Has no one
I
taught
don't
them
know,
that?
I don't know if they do or if they care. And I think a lot of times the spelling is, do you care? They're there and there,
You sure
two and two.
there's spelling and you're not getting it?
Oh no 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 no. It was like it's. I think that there was incognito was INCOGNEETO. It was like 3 words run together, and I just oh oh and
Education is important,
oh my
folks. I
God.
will take back
All
the
I kept thinking
spelling
is
thing
that was not the
for
school system
Heidi.
my kids went to, and thank God. So, but here's
I will. So,
here's
but guys,
wait here's
Seven.
one thing that I did I wanted to go back to talking to the people I talked to this morning is that we have the state is I don't know why my computer is sending up signals right now. The state is preparing 2 programs going forward. It's preparing a normal program where the kids go back to school, smaller numbers, shorter days, fewer days. Okay, usually a group at the beginning of the week, a break to clean, another group, smaller group at the last 2 days of the week. They're also preparing a better digital learning facility because we're probably going to have to take a break.
Remember, each district is doing it differently because our district is working for 5 days a week, just spreading all the kids out and taking a chunk not being just doing home learning.
Yeah.
So
I was just
every
picturing
district is trying to put it together.
I was just picturing somebody with like my backpack sprayer that I use for weed spraying down the desks, everything with Lysol at the end of the day,
You're going to have something like
Something.
that.
Something.
They are. There
Yeah.
just is. And so I think it'll be an interesting foray. Parents, please try to patient. I'm a parent. I will have my oldest is going to be a senior.
Yeah.
My middle is going to be a sophomore, and I have a 6th grader. It's scary and it's hard and
Yep.
nobody knows what's going on, and we all have to do our best and be understanding. But hopefully you have a school board that is willing to listen to you and your concerns.
And
And
don't
work
be a
with
dick
me.
because we're all trying to work through this. And this is difficult for everybody. It is difficult for everybody, not just you, not just your kid, not just your teacher, not just your school district, not just your state, not just your region. The entire country is struggling. So you have to find it in yourself to be patient, to follow the rules, to teach your children. It's important to be a rule follower because, trust me, I deal with people that are not rule followers as adults, and they end up going to jail and having a very difficult life. So and I know that that's a big extreme leap, but people who are successful know how to stay within color within the lines. And maybe that's not you. You're a rebel by choice. But this is not the time to be rebellious. This is the time to work together and try to get this done for the common good. We have to stop this it's my way or the highway stuff. It's the common good. The theme.
Hopefully
Yeah.
by next school year, not this coming one, but by 21, 22,
I think
this
we'll
will
be
be
back
under
to.
control
Yeah.
and we will be much better. But for this year, please, if you have any thoughts or ideas, let us know.
Right.
Let us know what actions you're taking to help your school district, your school, your teachers, your kids.
Right.
And don't be afraid to reach out, like, subscribe, and share.
Heartland
Heartland
Mamas,
Mama.
MAMAS.com for all of our previous work. We will be back
And
on Tuesday
the
live.
Demcast USA network.
Demcast USA, right. But we will be back next week, Tuesday, 11 o'clock-ish. Tune in. We've got a really great show for you planned for Tuesday. And we have some candidate launches that are going to go on our standard streaming platform, all podcast platforms, and at heartlandmamas.com, MAMAS. And find us on YouTube if you want to see our ridiculous faces that we make, or me waving my hands, because one of these days Marie and I are going to still be in the same studio again. We'll be together again, and I'll be flinging my hands around, probably whackering that. Sorry, Marie.
I think we did do that before.
Yes, we have. We've
run into
everyone,
each other. Thank you for tuning in. Be patient, be understanding. We enjoyed having you. And remember, Heartland Mamas.
MAMAS.com. See you later, everybody. Bye. Bye.